Okay, so next, let's continue to explain our in the CCIE 350401 Encore Lab collection. This is our 11th question. So when it comes to this question, what we are actually considering is this is a support point for our OSPF announcement and summarization. Let's first look at the first question, which asks us to configure this on R1 all interfaces. All networks then need to be advertised entering our OSPF Area 0, right? R1 is here. Then it needs to put all its interfaces into Area 0. Furthermore, you cannot use a network command line approach like this, cannot use the network command line in this competitive centralized declaration manner to activate the interface to run OSPF. That means in this question, in fact, we need to declare it in the interface. Then it said the second question, so we need to be in ABR, so R2 is in Area 0, with its 0-2 and 0-0 in Area 0. In Area 10, 0-1 is an Area Border Router, ABR. R3 is also an ABR. It is between Area 20 and Area 0. So it says we need to be above 2 ABRs, then to ensure in our two regions, Region 10 and Region 20. So within our Area 0, advertise a summary route entry. In simple terms, we need to do the aggregation within our region. Summary of our Type 3 LSAs. So classmates, for this question, actually we just need to, on the three routers, R3, R1 and R2 need to be configured. But when we are just checking the symptoms, we need to check them all. Let's first enter this diagram and open R1, R2, R3, then R10 and R20. These 5 devices. Let's proceed with the operation. First of all, we need to put all interfaces of R1 into our Area 0. During the exam, both R2 and R3 have pre-configurations. Let's check Show IP OSPF Interface Brief. You can see that all interfaces of R2 are actually running OSPF already. Similarly, R3 also needs to use Show IP OSPF Interface Brief. So all interfaces are running OSPF properly, and the areas are configured correctly. So for this question, let's start by working on R1. So we need to configure the interfaces on R1, all the layer 3 interfaces, it's all our networks, 0-0, 0-1, loop back 0. So go to interface range, our Ether 0-01, loop back 0 interface. R3 port, OSPF 1 area 20, put it into the area. Just a side note, when you are running OSPF, actually the OSPF process ID is not a big issue. In terms of process ID, it does not affect our OSPF. Establishing the conditions for neighbors, in fact, this OSPF 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is not a big issue at all. That's right, it doesn't matter. However, if you want stability, you should still show running config section router OSPF. Check if the process number is 1, right? If that's confirmed to be correct, it would be IP OSPF 1 area 0. Put all 3 interfaces into area 0, then check if our neighbors have woken up. We use a show AP OSPF neighbors command to check if the neighbors are up. So as long as you see there is such a relationship between 2 neighbors, when R1 is connected to R2 and R3 in such a complete state, there is no issue. Okay, as long as it shows full, it's fine. If it's not in full state, for example, what is it in Exchange? If it's in the state of X start, you need to pay attention, right? Possibly inconsistent MTU. Then, moving on to the neighbor, we need to work on R2 for this question. Point to our area 0 and advertise a summary route. So in this area 10 of ours. So most of our Ethernet you see is in the 10.1.1.02.0-24 subnet. Now let's take a look at R10. So in reality, for this question, it's a show IP interface brief. You will find that R10 actually only has this one physical port, 10.1.102.10. Actually, this question is quite simple. In our area 10, there is only this one, a routing. Entry for a network end. We need to summarize the past. That's just when summarizing. In fact, he said only consider a summary, a simple one. how to summarize with simple command lines, right? When you summarize, you must not summarize incorrectly. For example, a classmate asked me before, "Teacher, can I summarize it as 10.0.0.0/8? That's definitely not possible, right? Because the subnet above you see here is 10.2.203.0. If you also summarize it to 10.0.0.0-8. So both Area 20 and Area 10 in Area 0 are advertised to Area 0. This is a main class route with a 10 network segment, right? 10.0.0.0-8, such a routing entry. Then there will be an issue with choosing the route in the middle, right? It is not possible to accurately access our Area 20 or Area 10. So when you summarize, you do it based on its characteristics, right? Look at the first 16 bits. One is 10.1 and the other is 10.2. Just summarize it like this normally. Don't overdo the summary. So on R10 side, we will go to R2 and work on the ABR. If R2 acts as an RBR, we have a subnet of 10.1.102.0/24 in Area 10 into Area 0 when converting Type 1 and Type 2 LSAs to Type 3 LSAs. Let's summarize. Router OSPF1, but you need to make sure if this process number is 1. Now take a look here. We will check if this interface is running OSPF. You can also see if it is process 1. When you go to R10, I need to advertise Type 1 and Type 2, LS as of Area 10 to other areas. Just do a range summarization to 10.1.0.0/16. Just use 10.1.0.0/16. Then of course you can also write it in the form of a mask. All is fine. Similarly, when you go to our R3, we won't go to R2 here. It's faster this way. So on R3 directly, taking this subnet of 10.2.203.0/24. Router OSPF1, our process ID is 1. When area converts a Type 1 or Type 2, LSA of Area 20 into a Type 3 LSA and advertises it to Area 0, just to confirm, 10.2.0.0-16, right? Then I wrote it in the form of a mask. After you have summarized it, will the classmates, so normally speaking, so the Type 1 and Type 2 LSAs in our Area 20 will be introduced into our Area 0 to generate Type 3 LS routing entries. So this Type 3 LSA in Area 0 will also be introduced into our Area 10. As for R10, on top of that, you must be able to see the routing entries in our Area 20. After all, it's just a summary. On your R10 side, you can only see one route with a 10.2.0.0-16 mask. One OIA route. Make sure it is 10.2.0.0-16. So we have successfully summarized. Similarly, when you go to R20 on R20, so you can only see a summarized 10.1.0.0/16 in our region 10. For Type 3 LSA's OIA route, it is confirmed to be 10.1.0.0/16. Once you see this phenomenon, the question is completed. So R1 is running OSPF. The neighbor relationships are all normal and this neighbor relationship exists. Then R10 and R20, they can both see. Viewing routing entries from other areas, when you see entries for Area 20 and Area 10, they are both summaries. The task is completed, and one important thing to note is to save the configuration. This question definitely requires saving the configuration after completion. Remember to W2, end W2, and then remember to save the configuration. After saving, you can proceed to the next question. So this question is completed. So if you want to learn more about this CCIE 350 to 401 like this, including these topics in both hardware and security directions, students, welcome to continue to contact us at Wolf Lab. That's it.